Uh, Today, the topic that I'm going to start with is identifying the types of information. Actually, this topic in itself is not a direct, you can say, IELTS question. This topic is required to be understood uh, for an other IELTS question that I will show you in the coming slides. But if you have seen my lecture recording and if you have attended my lessons, previous lessons, I guess I covered in one of the very recent classes, I showed you an IELTS paper in which we attempted matching information type questions. Do you remember there were 5 questions about airports and low level of income and meeting facilities on airports or something to that extent. So we attempted one question on this topic, and that question was matching information question. Do you know what matching information question is? Shakil, do you have any idea?
No,
No.
sir.
No, okay. Like list of headings, you are given some information, and then you are asked that which paragraph contains this information. Okay. You are given some information, like let's say there are 5 questions. So in those 5 questions, in every question, you will be given one information. And then you will be asked that which paragraph contains this information. Like I gave you one example, if you remember, uh, 2 examples of robots at work. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, examples of robots at work. So in that, I asked you that which paragraph contains this information. And when I say this information, for this particular question, this information means examples of robots at work.
Okay.
Got it? Right? So now that means for matching information questions, first you need to see what type of information you need to match. Like in this particular example that I just presented in front of you, examples of robots at work. And then I asked you which paragraph contained uh, examples of robots at work. So here, what you are matching a specific type of information. And what is that specific type? Examples. Similarly, there may be okay. Let me first type some examples, and rather let me directly jump to the to one of the questions. Like if you are asked which paragraph contained 2 situations that force meerkats to change where they live. You see this? 2 situations. So here you have to match this type of information. 2 situations. And then next question asks you which paragraph tells that how meerkats generally spend their time. So in this paragraph, you have to see which paragraph tells or gives the answer of this how. Got it? So in every question, you have to match some information, but that information may be of different types. Sometimes you may be asked to tell that which paragraph contains, like if you see this thing, which paragraph contains findings of a study, which paragraph
Okay.
contains a method to be used in a research study, which paragraph contains a reaction to something. You see, these are the type of informations that I'm talking about. Findings, methods, reaction, a description of a habitat. So which paragraph gives you a description? And similarly, if you remember my previous example, examples of robots at work. You see? So these are the types of information that you need to match within or maybe with some of the paragraphs. Shakil, is that clear?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay, so before I jump to matching information type questions, first you should know what different types of information you may be asked to match. Like if I ask you findings of a study and methods used to carry out a study and results of a study, you see, all these have a different meaning. You should be clear. What do we mean by methods of our study? What do we mean by findings of a study? What is meant by results of a study? You getting
Okay.
it? Okay. So now for matching information tasks, you need to locate an idea or piece of information in the text and match it to a phrase that accurately describes it. Questions in these tasks describe the information you need to find. Now let's start it. I want you guys to read these two paragraphs one by one. Shkil, starting with you. Can you read the first paragraph?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Meerkats devote a significant part of their day to. Sir, screen is not clear, sir.
Really? Okay. Can you do you have handouts?
No, sir. Sir, no clear, sir. Their
Okay.
day of
Foraging.
foraging
Foraging
for
for food.
food with
Mm-hmm.
their sensitive noses.
Mm-hmm.
When they find it, they eat on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily, meerkats are ins- insectivorous,
Insectivores.
insectivores, which means their diet is mainly made up of insects.
Insects, right? So now,
Yes.
can you summarize what does this paragraph say?
For food with their sensitive noses, when they find it, they leave on the spot. Only
Now, what is foraging,
no,
by the
sir.
way? Do you know what is foraging?
No, no, sir.
No. Doctor, do you know what is foraging? No.
I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I think
But
to find
exactly.
we are looking for.
Yeah. Even if you don't know the meaning of foraging, you can make a guess from the text which follows it. Like they spend most of their time of the day in foraging for food with their sensitive nose. Now look at this diagram. This is the animal meerkat that we are talking about. They are like, their noses are like rats, rabbits, dogs. So how they sniff with their nose to find out food in maybe on roads, in dust or something, in soil, right? So they just try to find out their food using their nose in maybe in the soil, in the ground. Okay, so by using this sentence, you should be able to make a guess about this word foraging, right? Now, so whenever they find the food, they just eat it on spot. That means they generally, in the next sentences, if you see, they are insectivores. And what are insectivores? They have defined it for you. So whenever,
Yes.
that means they must be finding their food. That means insects in the ground, and then whenever they find it, they eat it. But main thing is that most of their time is spent in searching for food. They spend whole day maybe on this. So now the second paragraph, doctor.
Yes, sir.
Please read.
Okay. So these animals are transient by nature and move if their food is in short supply or if they are forced out by a stronger gang. The
Mm-hmm.
group's dominant male, the alpha male, marks the group's territory to protect the boundaries from the rivals and predators.
Predators, right. So what does this mean? These
Uh,
animals are transient. What do we mean by transient?
like not like temporary.
Temporary. They don't stay permanently at one place. Like transition. When we say we are in the state of transition, that means there's a change or shift going on, right? So they don't live at a place permanently, and they just move if they are short of food supply at that place, or if they are forced by a stronger gang. Now the group's dominant male, he marks the territory and blah blah. And why he marks the territory? to protect the boundary from rivals and predators. What does this mean? What are rivals? Who can be rivals and who can be predators? Hmm?
No idea, sir.
No idea, right? For example, if this is a group of meerkats, right? And this group is led by one member, and there are, let's say, 20 meerkats in it. Now there's another group. Okay, again, this is maybe a stronger group. It has got 30 meerkats in it. So now these two groups are rivals among each other,
Okay.
right? So that means a similar species, that means meerkats, may search for or hunt for the same food, or for they may, be they may like to come at the same place where this group is living. So one of the group has will have to leave, obviously. So the
Okay.
rivals means someone who is in the same business or someone who is from the same species, right? And what are predators? Predators are other animals like lions who may eat them. They are different species,
Okay.
right? So why I'm
Okay.
like, please try to relate these things now. I may not be explaining now, all of the text. Try to go into the depth, like what is meant by rival here and what is meant by predators. So, anyways, now
Okay.
let's come back, and can you tell me, any one of you, decide what type of information has been underlined. Like this information has been underlined. Who give their food in this, right? So what type of information it is? A description of an animal's habitat? Yes or no? Hello, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, yes. So A, is it a description
Mm,
of an
yes, sir.
animal's habitat?
No, sir.
No. Okay, Shkil says yes. Okay, now the issues that can cause something to happen.
I think yes.
Okay, an argument for a type of action.
Argument no.
Mm,
So
Hello.
no, just lock your answers. Now give me
Okay.
one
So
answer.
I'm. Sir, I think
B, bravo. Okay,
yeah.
and what about you, Shakil?
yes, B, sir.
B, right. So now B is the right answer. There are two issues described in this part, and what are those two issues?
Yes, sir. The food. Whenever the food is in short supply,
Short
or
supply,
whenever they, yeah, they are
yeah,
forced out by
by a
gang.
stronger gang. So because of these two issues, what may happen, something to happen, this may cause these groups to move to a different place. Okay, right. So
Okay.
now you should be knowing what do we mean by habitat here. Animals habitat generally, whenever there will be a discussion of habitat, it will be mentioned like they live in, maybe near water, in maybe shadowing places, or they live in, they live in mountains, or they live in desert or something. So whatever environment or surroundings of a place is, for living of anybody, or anything, it is known as its habitat. Okay, like if I
Okay.
say frog would like to live near the ponds or water or lakes, maybe, or rivers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, crocodiles or would also like to live in water or places near water. Fine, but if
Okay.
I talk about, what we call as, bear, white bear maybe would like to live, in on mountains near where there's a snowfall or something. Fine. So you
Okay.
know, this all is known as habitat. Then you should be clear about what do we mean by description and what do we mean by augment. Description is just a statement, or when you say just a uh, like in our Urdu we say just
Explanation.
explanation or mentioning of something. Mentioning is
Okay.
just touching upon something, but description is describing something, right? And in augment you would find some kind of you can
Strong
say
reaction.
strong point, some point to as a proof
Okay.
of as a proof of some point of view, right? And most
Okay.
of the times augments, if there's an augment about one topic, an augment is put by two different people, then those arguments would most of the times be contradicting each other. Like
Okay.
if I say, well, we should go to other countries for higher studies, and I may give any argument for that, and you may say, no, we should live here in our own country and we should study in our own country. So you may give an other argument, but our arguments will be opposing each other actually.
Okay.
Right. So why I'm telling you, because you will be asked all these kind of questions, and I'll stress that which paragraph contains an argument, which paragraph contains a mention of something, which paragraph contains a description of something, which paragraph contain an example of something, and so on. Right. Now, which paragraph contains the following information? Number one, two situations that force meerkats to change where they live. Obviously, paragraph B. Am I right? Are you guys there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now,
Yes,
how
sir.
meerkats generally spend their time? Which paragraph contains this information? How
A, sir.
meerkats A and how they spend their time?
Sir, A.
A, yeah,
For
the answer
food.
is correct, but how they spend their time? Can you tell me?
Sir,
How they generally spend their
see,
time?
Find out for
look
Yeah,
like
for getting for both.
yeah,
for food
in search of food.
with their smell.
Right. Okay, now I'm going to this very important exercise, and all those who are watching this recording, for them also, please try to give full time to this. This exercise is just to make you understand different types of information. Like I just said, there's a difference, like what is habitat, what is description, what is argument. So just like that, there are some other points that you need to know. Okay, and this exercise will actually help you understanding this concept. Right, there are 8 types of information mentioned on the top. I hope you can see that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Then there are 8 small boxes in the bottom. You have to
Mm-hmm.
match every this paragraph, you can say A, B, C, D, with the type of information, with the related type of information, right? For example, uh, okay, just read it, think over it. Before I ask you some question, can you tell me, shall I read 1 to 8 first, or shall I read A to H first? Or shall I read only A, only B, or what?
Only A, only B, sir. Only A, and then
Yeah,
match with type of
match
information, sir.
with yeah, of any of
1
these
to
8,
8.
then I will move to B. Why? Because I can take these as paragraphs. So A is a
Yes, sir.
paragraph here, B is a paragraph here, C is a paragraph here, right? So
Yes, sir.
now read first, Shakil, please. Water is forced at pressure.
Water
This
is
one.
forced at pressure through a narrow pipe. The water hits the top of the water wheel, causing it to turn.
Okay, so what is this? Water is forced at a pressure through a narrow
Yeah,
pipe. The water hits the top of the water wheel, causing it to turn. So now I will keep asking you one by one, and you will tell me, is it a possible answer or not? Is it a finding of a study? What do you think?
No, sir.
No.
No.
Is it the method used in a research study?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
No. Okay. The reaction to something?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yes, sir.
Okay. For the time being, whenever you are confused, because this is our first reading, so obviously we
Okay.
have to see the other options as well. I'm just writing A here, but I'm not striking it out. I'm not, crossing it out because this option is still open. Now, a
Okay.
description of a habitat.
No.
No. The difference between the current and the past studies?
No.
No. Okay. A description of how something works.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it could be.
It
Yes,
could
sir.
be, right? A here. Now, the cause of something?
No.
No,
No. Okay. The amount of time needed for something?
no, sir.
No. So now you
No.
have two options. And one way is that you again look at the options and think about it. And other way is just move on. Just move on. And just, it is quite possible that, let's say for D, you may be convinced, fully convinced that, well, D is more linked with number 3. So in that case, you will just cross it out A and you will write D, and automatically A will be shifted to 6. Another way is that
Okay.
you spend some time focusing on it, and you just right now you try to decide whether 3 is related to A or number 6. The second, okay, number
Yes,
6.
sir.
Okay, number 6. So I will suggest, yes, we should move on, right?
Okay, sir.
Now,
Okay.
water is warm thanks to a natural hot spring beneath the riverbed. The water is warm thanks to a natural hot spring beneath the riverbed. So, is it a finding of a study?
No.
No,
The method used in a research study?
no, sir.
No.
The reaction to something?
No.
A description of a habitat?
No, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. Okay. Number B. Then the difference between current and the past studies?
No.
A description of how something works?
No.
The cause of something?
No, sir.
Yes, it could
No,
be.
sir.
Yeah, and what is the
7, sir.
cause and what is the 7? Okay. So cause of warm water, like if I translate it, what is coming into my mind is that the cause of warm water or water being the warm is the hot spring beneath the riverbed, right? This is what you are saying. So anyways, the amount of time needed for something, yes or no?
No.
No,
No.
sir.
Okay. So now let's read number C here. And our study looked at the surrounding environment while previous researchers have concentrated on diet.
Okay. 5.
5, the difference between current and past studies.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And what about you, researcher? He's assistant researcher. What is your appointment, Shakil? Can you tell me the exact appointment?
Yes, sir.
Are you assistant to research what or something?
No, sir. I am student advisor.
Student advisor, right? To
Yes, sir.
HOD, right? So, anyways, so this time, you are sure about it, so I've striked it out. Clear? Okay,
Yes,
now
sir.
move on to D. We
Okay.
achieve this by weighing the animals both before and after periods of exercise. Sorry. Now
Hello.
yeah, I'm just waiting for you to answer me.
Okay. So B. 2, I mean.
The method used in a research study?
No,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Mhm.
Option
Okay, so no,
before after
it's
Uh,
foods.
B.
mm, okay, number two,
The
right?
method, yeah.
You are locking number two, right? What about Shakil?
Sir, I'm confusing, sir. Again, in number five, sir.
Number five, the difference between current and past studies. Oh, we achieved this by weighing the animals both before and after periods of exercise. Whatever is happening, this thing is happening in a single study. There's no comparison
Okay,
of previous studies
okay, sir.
in the present studies, or current studies in the past studies,
Okay, sir.
right? So
Right, sir.
it is very clear now, for all those who are watching this recording. It was doctor's field actually, so she very easily jumped to this. But now, Shakil, it will be your field as well, once you'll start a
Yes,
research.
sir.
There are two types of
Yes, sir.
research we generally carry out. One research is, like, we study responses of the people. We just go into the market, and we give questionnaires to people, and they just give their
Yes, sir.
opinion on that, right? And this is one kind of study. But
Yes, sir.
if we go about scientific study, that too particular about animals, or you can say about living beings, in that
Yes, sir.
you have to follow a mechanism. And in that you may say that, well, first we placed some cameras over here, then we kept these animals hungry for 10 hours, then we gave
Yes, sir.
every animal this much of food, and then we, after 30 minutes, we gave them this much of water, then we made them to run. So this all arrangement that we are doing to find out some
Yes, sir.
results, this arrangement is known as method used in a research study. Remember this thing. This is very common in IELTS academic. In IELTS
Okay, sir.
academic test, you are generally asked what is a method used in a research study, right? So
Right, sir.
method means the setting up of arrangement, or the arrangement we make to carry out a study. Like, in
Okay,
our
sir.
college or school times, whenever we used to go to labs, there used to be something known as apparatus setting.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
so before starting an experiment, whatever settings you do, that is known as method used in a research study. This was, a very important point that I wanted to make here. So this is D, doctor. That's good.
Okay,
Oh,
sir.
sorry. Right. So please excuse
Actually,
me.
I am doing some research study. That's why
Oh, okay, okay,
I
that's
have
fine.
idea.
Right, that's great then. They live in dark, humid areas, and so tend to be found in and around tropical rainforests.
Sir, our description of habitat.
Now, this is a
Yes, sir.
habitat. Remember, uh, in number B, you said it is a description of habitat, but in number B, it mentioned about
Yes,
some
sir. It
place.
was.
It only mentioned about a place, but it did not mention that something, some animal, some bird lives here.
Okay.
When we say habitat, that would be a habitat of something, some animal maybe, some human being, right? Some bird, some reptile, or
Okay.
whatever. So
Yes, sir.
here this word they is indicating that it is something, maybe anything it could be, and they live in this thing. So whenever we talk about some human being, or sorry, some living being living at some place, that means it's habitat, right? So now this is locked, and automatically B has been dropped from here now,
Yes, sir.
right? So our
Yes,
answer
Yes,
sir.
sir.
for this is what? Sorry,
4.
4, right? And it is locked actually,
Yes,
and
sir.
this is E. Now please read the next one.
A month
Um,
later, we were able to test it again, and the results showed a significant change in temperature when the insulation was used. So
Mhm.
it is basically showing the results. So I would say the finding of a study.
Finding of a study, right?
Okay.
Agreed. I guess there's no difficulty. Only trick, one thing that you should Now, sometimes this become a trick. You know, sometimes things may get a little confusing. You may be given two
Okay.
options, like if in the above options 1 to 8, if I add one more option here, and in that
Yes.
just add one thing, that is the results of a study.
Okay.
So
Okay,
is it
sir.
a finding or is it a result?
The findings and results are same.
No, actually,
Result?
that's what I wanted to tell you. Generally speaking, you can say yes, they are same, but
Yes,
uh,
sir.
but in these kind of scenarios, when you are given both the options, in that you should be clear. Results means the figures, the data that we get,
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
and findings means the conclusion we are driving from those results. Like if I tell
Okay.
you, if I say that I in my study, let's say I am measuring body temperature of let's say rabbits twice a day, okay,
Okay, sir.
or let's say I'm measuring body temperature of some patients, some particular disease, let's say, right, who are admitted in some hospital twice a day. Now I'm maintaining a record of that. This
Okay, sir.
records that I'm maintaining are actually the results of the study. Those figures, those data are the results. And after looking at those results, I would, conclude something like, if I say, look, all these patients, whenever they get an injection of maybe hepatitis or whatever, they only on those days their body temperature goes high. They show some hints of fever or something. Okay, so
Okay.
now what we can drive from this, what we can conclude from these results, we can conclude that, well, these injections give a side effect which causes fever,
Okay, sir.
Okay.
right? So conclusion are your findings, and the figures, the data that we are talking about are your results. Now the resurrection, sorry, number G.
Sir, after 10 years, they gave up. The experiment had failed, and as a result, the public grew angry at the waste of public funds.
Hmm.
Sir, number three, sir.
Number 3,
Yes, sir.
what about you, doctor?
Seven. Seven?
The cause of something. Hmm. Okay. Shakil, your answer is correct. It is a reaction to
Okay, sir.
something.
Okay.
Public grew angry in reaction to what? Failure of this thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But here, water is warm, and what is the cause? Cause is the hot spring beneath that flows, beneath the riverbed. You see,
Okay.
reaction is some action against something.
Okay.
So please be clear about this, right? So now,
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
let me erase A here. Yes. So, what is that now?
G, sir.
It is G. Okay. So you see, this is, whenever you're confused about two headings, this is the method that you need to adopt.
Yes,
Just
sir.
keep both the options open till you find or till you reach at a more solid and confirm answer.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So now A is also done, B is also done. Only one option, but we need to check. It takes 35 days for the chick to leave the nest and fly. Obviously, the amount of time needed for something.
It's yes, sir.
Fine. So everything is done. But now you are clear what is habitat. Now you are clear what is cause. You are clear what is reaction. You are clear what is
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
method of a study, what are findings and result of study.
Yeah.
Okay, so now actually we will attempt some good exercises, some tougher exercises for matching information type questions. Just like matching heading, matching information questions are not in the same order as the passage. And if you have attended that lesson or watched video of that lesson in which I talked about in order questions, not in order questions, in sequence questions, not in sequence questions, in that I mentioned that matching heading and matching information questions are not in sequence. And I hope you know what do I mean by not in sequence, right? So note any plurals in the question. What does it mean? It means
Yes, sir.
if this, there are two examples mentioned in the question and there are two paragraphs. In one paragraph, there is only one example mentioned, and in other paragraph, there are three examples mentioned, and in other paragraph, there are two examples mentioned. So you will select this paragraph, which talks about two examples,
All right.
right? Like I gave you an example of, that one, examples of robots at work, if you remember. So in that, I told you that if one paragraph contains only one example of robot at work, and other paragraph contains two examples of robots at work, then your answer would be this paragraph. So now, what kind or what types of information you may be required to ask, sorry, to match. You may be asked to match a number. You may be asked to match a date. You may be asked to tell some measurements, a reason of something, a cause of something. You see, we have just seen this cause, if you remember, an effect of something, a conclusion, the problems, a finding. We have seen this thing as well. An account of something, a description, sorry, a reaction, a description. We have seen these two as well, right? So you may be asked anything like that. Now we will move to our exercise, I guess. And before we jump to the paragraph, I guess there's only 1 minute 45 seconds left. So during this 1 minute 45 seconds, I want you guys to look at the list of information first. Then we will go to the paragraphs and find the answers. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
The first thing you have been asked to match is a visual evidence of something. And what do we mean by visual evidence? Can you tell me? Something we can see with our naked eyes, or maybe eyes,
Yes.
at least eyes, even in microscope, but at least
Yeah.
using our eyes, right? Of GK and
Okay, sir.
visual evidence of what? Visual evidence of GCO's ability to resist water. And what do we mean by resisting water? Means
What
water,
against like
yeah, what not allowing water to enter, hydrophobic kind of thing, right? Now, a question
okay.
that is yet to be answered. So here you have to find a paragraph in which some question, some unanswered question is there.
Okay.
Fine. The
Okay, sir.
method used to calculate the gripping power of GCOs. So now the method, in this you have to find a method. In the next, researcher's opinion.
Okay.
Okay, there's one more point about this researcher's opinion. Please do remind me because I don't want to start it now. I want, once we move up, we'll start our next session after 30 seconds or whatever.
Okay, sir.
So I will tell you this thing. But please do remind me about this thing, researcher's opinion. So here you have to define